After a far longer break than I anticipated, yes, I am back, and this time we will have a look at Solomon's Key for the Commodore 64, a Techno arcade original that was converted by Probe and released by US Gold. The background story or plot, if you want, for this game is that you play the role of a Dana, who's a wizard, and he seeks out the fabled Solomon's Key, which he will need in order to get rid of the Demon King, Devil King, Demon Devils thing, whatever stuff, who has invaded his land, and only Solomon's Key can effectively shut the door on them. So he seeks it out with some urgency. Dana has a wand that you can use to create blocks, but you also use it to destroy blocks. And you will have to use a set wand in order to create a pathway for him and block off enemies and that kind of stuff in order to complete the different levels. Each level will contain a key that you need to pick up in order to unlock the exit, and then by entering the exit, you will move on to the next level. Each level will also contain a bell that, if picked up, will spawn a fairy that will fly around willy-nilly, and if you pick that fairy up, you will get some bonus points, but you can also, well, not also, but if you get 10 fairies gathered, you will be given an extra life, so they serve a secondary purpose. The screens will also contain various different items, some of them visible and some of them hidden in blocks, and some of them even hidden in some of the blocks you spawn yourself, which I find rather interesting. And I left the screen up showing what the different bonuses are doing, so I don't need to go over them. But the main thing for you as the player is the bottles, because they contain, or flame things, because they contain fireball charges. Because besides having his wand, Dana also has some fireballs that you can toss at enemies in order to get rid of them. Of course, some enemies like these, they're supposed to be skulls, and they look more like turnips or blueberries, I don't know. They will spawn constantly, but certain screens will have enemies which will be a one-and-done type of enemy, and getting rid of them can be rather beneficial in order for you to progress to the different levels. From a technical point of view, the graphics compared to the arcade original looked a bit more coarse, and that is not necessarily a bad thing. I do find that the arcade original's graphics is perhaps a bit too cartoonish. It entirely depends on what people prefer, but I'm not going to say that the graphics in this particular version is necessarily better. I mean, the arcade's graphics are more detailed, that kind of stuff, but the graphics in this version carries the essence of the arcade original's graphics, and there's been some minor interpretations of various different objects and enemies, but by and large, I think, from a graphical point of view, this game is perfectly serviceable. It's not exactly epic looking, but for the game type, it does what it needs to do, and as such works perfectly fine. The sound effect wise, I fully enjoyed the sound effects, especially the sound effect of knocking or breaking a block with your head, because if you're underneath a block that can be broken, you can break it with your head by jumping into it in Mario style kind of thing, and I fully enjoy that sound. I do find by and large the sound effects in this version are very good, and compared to the arcade originals sound effects, they seem a bit, I wouldn't say muted, but perhaps a bit more subtle than the Commodore 64 version. The music is directly inspired by the arcade originals music, and the arcade originals musical themes are much more cheerful and happy-go-merry sounding than the 64 version, and personal opinion being what it is, I actually prefer the Commodore 64's music compared to the arcade original. I'm not going to say that one version is better than the other, but I grew up with the SID chip and it will always have a special place in my gaming heart, and as such, when it is handled by someone who knows what they are doing, it can sound rather good, and the tone of the music I find more enjoyable in this version than the arcade original. For those who may love the music and sound effects of the arcade original, more power to you. I'm not trying to take anything away from anyone. This is an opinion piece, and this is my opinion. When it comes to the controls are what you would expect them to be: left, right, up, down, all that good stuff. And while they are responsive, they can seem a bit floaty, to be honest. Collision detection and all that good stuff seems to be spot on, so I have no complaints in that regard. The usage of the Commodore key to fire off the fireballs that you have available is not entirely a misplaced key to use and not too far of reach, and the main reason that spacebar is not being used for that kind of actions is the fact that the spacebar is reserved for keyboard control, and as such it will operate as the fire button if you're playing with keyboard. That leads us to the gameplay part. Despite the fact that this game from the onset can seem a bit simple. I mean, it's a puzzle platformer, there's nothing complicated about that. You will quickly find that if you play this game that the complexity is not necessarily in the fact that it is a puzzle platformer, but the fact that you are given very little time to work out how you need to navigate the different screens. It starts out being relatively easy, but then as you get further into the game, you find yourself spawning at a location right underneath one of the enemy spawn locations. These are blueberry look-alike things, which are supposed to be skulls, but whatever, what do I know? They will constantly respawn from the entry points at the top of the screen, and as such you can't get rid of them permanently. And having to deal with things like that while trying to work out a route to the key and to the exit is definitely where the challenge in the game lies. I have a weak spot for this game. It can be frustrating, it can be annoying, but I've always enjoyed playing it, and if you're into puzzle platformers, it gets my recommendation. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, and see you next time. Bye bye for now.